We are working to bring you the latest information. Our team has been working all night long, talking with you and police. Tina Ramos is downtown with a look at the damage and police reaction. Laura Borchers joins us from a heavily damaged Ohio theater. Brittany Bailey spoke with protesters, and Glenn McIntyre is at the Ohio Statehouse, which was also damaged. So let's start first with Tina Ramos, who spoke overnight with Sergeant James Fuqua with Columbus Police. Tino has new details for us in the aftermath of a violent night. Tino?
Yeah, Pete, I can tell you that police are calling this a sad state of affairs. You know, we've been traveling all around the city here, just going up and down the blocks, seeing where the protesters were and where the protesters damaged. This is a restaurant here just at the corner of High and Rich Street. You can see window after window knocked out, even this door right here. And unfortunately, this was just the beginning of a protest that started just before midnight. Let me take you into that scene and show you some of this video. Incredible, too, because hundreds and hundreds of protesters gathered in the downtown area here. These protesters were here to have their voices heard, protesting the death of George Floyd. He is the person that died in Minnesota to the hands of a police officer there. Columbus police immediately came downtown once they realized damage was going on, tried to gain control of it, firing tear gas and pepper spray into the crowd. Now, unfortunately, according to Columbus police, they say they were fearful that something like this might happen.
We understand as a police department that tensions are high, not only here in the city of Columbus, but all over the country involving law enforcement. And there may be a lot of people who don't necessarily agree with police tactics or trust us or have whatever views of policing they may have, which may cause a lot of uneasiness. But I want to assure you that here in the city of Columbus, we are doing everything we can to really bridge the gap between ourselves and the community. We know the tensions are very, very unfortunate.
Unfortunate indeed, because unfortunately a lot of damage occurred here. You can see this condo complex here, all the windows were knocked out of it as well. And this is just the beginning of all that damage that occurred here. Now, Columbus police say they plan on meeting today to try and figure out how to solve this particular problem to make sure this does not occur again. Unfortunately, the damage is great here, and this is just part of it. We want to check in with Laura Borchers now. She was out here as well when the protesters were active, and unfortunately, she has damage where she is. Laura?
Yeah, Tino, we were down here near the State House right here at Ohio Theater just moments after this was one of the buildings struck by those looting and causing damage. And I want to show you specifically this ticket booth right here. This is just part of the damage to the Ohio Theater, which is managed by Kappa. And you can see the glass to this ticket booth is completely shattered out. And what happened, there were drapes that came down from the top here. Those actually caught fire when someone threw something inside. Now, luckily, someone was close by and put it out fairly quickly. But overall, so many windows around this theater in particular were ruined, and we're talking about $15,000 worth of damage out here. And really, that's just the start. Ohio Theater looks very different after people came through here looting and damaging, but it's a glimpse of all the vandalism and all of the things happening around downtown. The State House building did see some damage as well. Coda bus stops saw shattered glass, and businesses all around downtown will spend the day picking up the pieces. Some of the many businesses that saw signage torn down and windows shattered were just gearing up to finally reopen after weeks of COVID-19 closure. And some of those protesters we spoke with said they had hoped things would go peacefully. They hadn't intended for this kind of damage.
It's riots happening all over the place, and hopefully the cops, they know it takes one cop to make the whole country go crazy.
I just wanted to be like a peaceful protest, or to send a message that Black Lives Matter, and the person that they killed, like, that was very like unhuman. Like what was the purpose?
And I talked with Columbus Police Sergeant Fuqua about last night. He said that as more and more people were gathering and the damage began, all Columbus police officers were called into work. And because there was so much focus on the vandalism, the damage, and the things happening downtown, there were 176 critical calls that had to be delayed, and of those, 22 were domestic violence calls that simply had to be put on hold. So he said that is some perspective on how this damage and vandalism could have impacted loved ones out there. Reporting live downtown, I'm Laura Borchers, 10 TV News.
The cleanup is underway at the Statehouse this morning. You can see crews here boarding up these very large windows that were shattered out by protesters who rushed the Statehouse after being pushed out of the intersection of Broad and High by Columbus police. There is shattered glass all over this area. Every one of these windows, including a door down here, the window pane from this door was completely knocked out and shattered. And as you see, the damage continues down here. Every one of these windows shattered out. Earlier, we spoke with some protesters about the damage here and throughout downtown. Their point of view was windows can be replaced, lives cannot.
I've seen a lot of broken windows, broken glass. I think it's rightfully so. We have a right to be angry. People aren't listening to our peaceful kneeling protests like Colin Kaepernick. No one cares. I mean, it's time for us to make some noise, get attention to it.
I am angry. I am sad that it's 2020 and we still have to deal with this. We still have to fear the police. We still have to riot in the streets for you guys to hear us.
Is there anything you say to the emotion and the anger in the community? We just interviewed a young woman who said it shouldn't take this for you guys to hear us.
Well, I think my message is we do hear, and we have a lot of us. You know, we are as offended as anybody else when somebody in our profession does the wrong thing. You know, the people that hate bad cops more than anybody else are good cops. We just, you know, we train, we work hard, we try to build a good relationship with the community and get respect. Something like that happens, and it sets you way back.
And along with the shattered glass, blood stains on columns and steps here left behind by the people who broke those windows after a dark and disturbing night of unrest in the capital city. At the Statehouse, Glenn McIntyre, 10 TV News.
Glenn, thank you. Our Brian Somerville was caught up in the middle of the protests as they were happening.
Moments ago, I used pepper spray on this crowd. You continue to see people throwing things at officers.
Now, you might have watched that live on Facebook. Brian followed the protesters throughout the city on Facebook Live. You can go online now to watch that full video on our 10 TV Facebook page.